.com live. I'm talking with Richard Fowler, who is a Democratic strategist, political strategist, who's part of our panel today. You are the panel today, because we had to say goodbye to Kerry Pickett, but you are the panel today. We haven't talked about the immigration, because there's a piece in the, I think, the Wall Street Journal, I believe it is, talking about how the below the radar issue is immigration for the GOP, and many of the candidates, Mitt Romney and Michelle Bachmann, have not really been focusing on it. They've been talking about jobs, about foreign policy, but this immigration issue, to my surprise, really may be a litmus test for many of the GOP candidates. Are you aware of that?
I think it is a litmus test. Over the summer, I got a chance to speak at NCLR to some 400 young people.
NCLR would be?
National Council of La Raza, which is,
Oh, look, I knew it, but I didn't know.
Right, the viewers might not have known, but it's basically a council of, Latin Americans that come together every year. And I got a chance to speak to them about the importance of passing the DREAM Act and really dealing with immigration. I think it has become sort of an under-the-radar issue, not only for Republicans, but also for Democrats. Like, we've really got to work to find a solution to immigration. We can't just continue to put it on the back burner. It's really, to me, it's unfortunate that there's individuals in this country who came to this country at no fault of their own. Their parents brought them here, and they don't have the ability to get in-state tuition. They don't have the ability to, on the path of citizenship, when they're pretty much Americans. They went to school. Some of them went to school with me. Some of them going to school with my younger brother and sister. And now they don't have the right to, be an American.
You bring up a key point, because, Rick Perry instituted in his state something that's very close, a precursor to the DREAM Act, which is a student, a child who at least 3 years in the country in his state of Texas and graduate from a Texas high school could pay in-state tuition at a Texas college, regardless if they were illegal or not. And that basically sounds a lot like the DREAM Act. But when you raise the point is that when you know them as people, when you see them in your work environment and you go to school with them, you have a much different attitude than someone who's from a state like I come from, which is Minnesota, when you don't really have that personal interaction.
Oh, I think you're completely right. But, these are people. These are, in my mind, these people are American. They're just as much as American as we are. We're a country based of immigrants. Both my parents were immigrants to this country. So it's bigger than it's bigger, sadly, I think it's bigger than politics.
Yeah, but the other side of this is that I have a trainer, and you wouldn't know it by the size of my rear end, actually, right now. But I do. And he is from England, and how he sweated blood, sweat, and tears to get a green card, to do it legally. And he's a trainer, he's working, he's got his own business, and he was really suffering a lot because he was doing it legally. And he resented a lot of the people who just come in here illegally and start working and then demand rights, like he does. I mean, that's not fair.
Right, I agree with you. I don't think it's fair. I think what the DREAM Act is a little bit different than that, Lauren. And what the DREAM Act does is it says if you're here for a number of years, you have to be here. You have to be here by the age of 16. You have to complete high school. You have to apply to a college, and it doesn't guarantee you citizenship. It puts you on the path to citizenship. And after a couple of years, you become a resident alien. From there, then you're on the path of citizenship. So what it does, it doesn't say you're guaranteed citizenship. It gives you a path to then inquire about citizenship and stand in line to get citizenship. So it's bigger than just giving everybody instant amnesty. I think there's a lot of people that want that. I think the DREAM Act, to be perfectly honest, something that's sort of the middle of the line here. We've seen George Bush endorse the DREAM Act. He tried to pass it. He tried to get it through Congress when he was in office in 2006, and it did not.
But you've got the illegal immigrants coming over here for the purpose of getting their kids on that role, because they can then be the anchor, and that's why they call them anchor babies, and many of them, come over here and have their children. They can be the anchor to provide a path for the whole family, and that becomes another path to illegal immigration. And I think this is something that, there's no easy solution to it, obviously.
No, there's definitely not an easy solution, but I think you're right. There's folks that they come here to this country to have their children here so they can be quote-unquote anchors. But beyond that, I think, it's not mutually exclusive. I think where the Republican Party might be right is that we need to talk about, securing our borders, but these conversations have to be had at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive to talk about securing our borders and then we're going to do with immigration. You have to deal with both of them at the same time, and we're not seeing that.
All right, well,